Hello, my name is Michael Rubin. I'm the co-founder of ODAPES. Our mission is to democratize digital agriculture, and what we are showing today is how we are going to include many developers in different, especially low-income countries, using Shiny and making it more easy to develop production-grade apps. So I just want to start with two slides to show what exactly we are trying to achieve at ODAPES. So this is a traditional setting of a digital agriculture business. We have different farmers, they can be in different countries, and of course they have all different crops or different products which they produce, and this is in fact a huge complexity. Now we funnel all this into one app which is run by one single company, by one management, usually by one code and one app. So this code needs to be very flexible, very complex in order to account for all these varieties. So what we see as a future vision is that we still have the same farming guys in different countries doing different stuff, and each of them actually has his own app. You can think of this as like if I talk about personal medicine, personalized medicine care, I get a much better quality because it can, take account for my gene variations, for my personalities and all the stuff. The same is true for agriculture. So here we in fact want to have one app for each of these guys. Or at least each ecosystem. Consequently, we have many different codes, and this is perfect for Shiny. Of course, we are using Shiny here. And then we want to have all these different programs which run and manage and partly develop this code, which can be in different countries. So what is our challenge, which we're trying to solve today, is we had a hard time to find all these guys with the needed R skills so that we can really scale up this model. Here a quick overview. It's actually two apps. The one which we are doing for the customer, which is the final result of this whole story, is this one, the green one. This is the production app, customized 100% to a particular farmer. Then we have another app, we call it applicator app. It's also a Shiny app, and this is where the developer, the low-code developer, is actually working, and he's working here to customize a parameter list, which is then customizing the production app. And this all is based on an app skeleton, which is on GitHub. It's just a fork we are doing, and on a bunch of own ODAPES packages. So let's start with this right-hand part. Okay, now we start our app. This is just the basic skeleton. So we want to change now some things to customize it to our needs. So first of all, we want to get rid of this tab here because we don't need this module, which is a special module for another use. Then we want to put this tab, which manages basically all the weather stations. We want to put this into the settings. Ajustes in Spanish means settings. And we want to get rid of the events, and we want to get rid of the agronomic part. Therefore, we are going to two CSV files, which will later be coming from the database, and it's just in develop at this moment. And we see we have different columns, one called table ID, one called no origin namespace, one called host tab ID, and the rest is more the text and the title. What we're doing now here is we are adjusting these variables, which will effectively adjust our app. So we will take the settings ID, which is the host tab ID, and we will put this here because this is the table elements which we want to put to another tab. We also take the events out. We said that we don't want to have the events, so this we take out, as well as the agronomic part, the variables, we take them out. So now we save it and we go back to the app.r. Now let's see if it runs. So you see we have now only two tabs. One is the map and the other are the settings, ajustes in Spanish. And here we see we have now different tabs. So we have our weather stations here. And here we can, just to give an example, we can have different settings. We can delete some of them. I'm going to delete one of these fields. And we can change the names if we want. So give that a 4. Or we can add new data to this. We can add, for example, manual data to this element. And here we can connect with an API. We have different suppliers, and it's now consulting the API, and here are all the new weather stations which have been found. Let's now see what happens if we press, for example, this button. Remember, we have this identifier, and now we press delete, and now it should stop. It does indeed. So we are here at a script called ODS menu. This is a module, a separate module, and this is a centralized collector of all the input IDs. So wherever, in whatever module I press an input or a button, it triggers actually this observe event here, this central observe event. And let's see what the button is giving us back. It's not just a number, an incremental number. It's an informative string. So we have here MS element. That's because we are talking about elements. Okay. Then we have delete. That's because we pressed the delete button. Then we have element. This is the name of the table inside the database. So we know where we're going to delete, and the identifier. So we know which row have been pressed. And that's now from here it distributes the action and does what needs to be done. So now we want to adapt a bit more details. For example, this button here connects new APIs. We don't want the users to connect to new APIs. At the same time, we don't want a user to have these delete buttons, because they should not delete existing weather stations. We're doing this in another CSV file, which is basically this CSV file here. Again, we have our table ID. We are in the element table. We do have a UI ID, which is basically an identifier of each button, and these buttons, it tells basically what they give back as an information. Maybe you remember the MS element delete, that's this part, and also the definition of how it looks like, what icon it has, and so forth. So we are taking out now these two buttons. We just delete these rows, the delete one and the new one, which is the API. So here we are again, and now you see we have a simplified table, a simplified menu. As a last part, we want to add a new function, which is a ready-made module, which is called agreport. The agreport is a service which prints defined R markdowns in PDF and sends them to different users. We have to import it here, so we just set the flag to true. So now we have the module. This imports the Shiny module called agreport. We just uncomment the tab. We already did that, and now we have also to uncomment this tab here. This is we are here in the body of the Shiny dashboard, and the same for the server part. Here is we call the module. And okay, here we are again, and now we have, you see, we have a new tab. This tab is a basic ODAPES service which is standardized. It sends out reports. In this tab you can create new reports, and in this tab you can then schedule them. For example, this report, these clients get these reports on basically all the days and so forth. Okay, so yeah, that's what we have. That's what we have now. These are our result of our quick adaptation. Of course, there are much more details which can be made, and I leave it here for now. Our applicator app. So we first create a new user, and then we go to the next step. Here we create the services. I need to inform how many fields, how many clients I have, if I want to use satellite data, how many hectares, and so on. And if I want to send PDF reports on a daily basis, for example, and now we go ahead. The next step will be that we set our menus. We have different tabs, shiny tabs. So we select one of them, and then inside the tab we define what items we want to work with. We have, for example, personal settings. Now we can work with elements, that is weather stations, samples, and so on. We can work with maps. Then maybe we want to add new users. So each of these steps will add a corresponding new feature to the app. So then finally we go to style. We want to style our app. This is just a styler, and now we see how this is going to work.